So welcome everybody, good morning. We are so happy to see all of you here with us today. Again, I'm Rachel Justice and I co-lead the Woman to Woman program with my partner in crime, Jillian Levinson. As a reminder, Woman to Woman is a gynecologic cancer support program and we are here to support patients any way that we possibly can, emotionally, financially, educationally, and today is absolutely a necessary session as part of our COVID and cancer series. So again, COVID and cancer meets twice a month on different topics relevant to cancer patients who are living during the time of the pandemic. And as we were just saying, we have all spent way too much time in our homes. Hopefully, as things start to open up a little bit more and like safer, having people over and maybe entertaining, we all are going to want our homes to be in the best shape possible. So we are so lucky to have Hallie Rosenblum of the Clean Slate joining us today to do a presentation on spring cleaning and organizing, specifically in this time of the pandemic. So Hallie, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and sharing your knowledge and expertise and tips. I am personally very excited for this. So welcome.
Thank you. Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope I'm able to give you some good tips and tricks today about organizing and a little bit about how I got started. So I started organizing at a young age. My grandfather owned a general store where I loved walking up and down the aisles, color coding the cosmetics department, and tidying up the toys, arranging the books by author, and organizing jewelry by categories. So I started really young and it's just progressed over the years. At work, I have always been the go-to for my attention to detail, as well as always being organizing and creating folders on my desktop, color coding my spreadsheets and files. People always laugh at how colorful everything always is in my world. So organizing has always come naturally to me. I would ask if any of these questions resonate with you. Are you constantly wasting time each day looking for things, or wasting time, money buying multiple items, moving or downsizing, or maybe just right sizing? Do you keep saying you're going to do it yourself, but you never do? If any of these do resonate with you, you will definitely find today full of great information and tips. So here we see the definition of organize. So it says arrange items so they can be found easily. Organizing will help you clear your clutter and create order from chaos. Organizing is so much more than putting your stuff away. It's about creating a productive lifestyle that results in clarity and order, which leads to feelings of calmness and peacefulness. The truth is, if you don't know how to organize yourself both physically and mentally, you won't be as productive as you can be. As a professional organizer, I help individuals take care of their surroundings by clearing clutter, and developing customized organizing systems. So if this looks familiar, and if you're feeling overwhelmed and don't know where to begin, I will help you get started on that dreaded project so you'll feel even less stress. Okay, so you may be asking, how do I get started? I recommend always creating 3 piles, one for donate and recycle, the other for keep, and one for trash. So items that you should have always kind of like near you are scissors, Sharpies or markers, and some Post-its to make notes for the certain piles that you have. And I like to tackle all projects with a clean slate. That's the name of my company also, Clean Slate. So remove all items from the space that you're about to organize. And when you put it back, you will have an easier time sorting and donating and giving away items. Cleaning out the whole space always helps me to see the space that I have and assess my storage needs before I get started. So as you separate your items into piles, you can decide if you want to sell, you can have a garage sale or consign your items. You can use online services such as ThredUp, eBay, Poshmark, Facebook, or donate to Goodwill or Housing Works. So here, we're gonna think about recycling. There's nothing like the feeling of getting rid of something you know what you will never use again, but someone else might find that they have a use for it. Or you can always look into companies such as Nike or Levi's and the North Face. They take back a lot of clothes and shoes of any brand. For old shoes that you might be trying to get rid of, consider using them for maybe gardening or playing outside, cleaning the garage, muddy walks and hikes, something to wear on a rainy day if you don't want to ruin your shoes. And then for garments that you're trying to get rid of, like these, if you don't have time to donate them, you can always use them and recycle them for rags to clean your home, which is a really good thing. You can cut them up and rip them up into pieces. So if you no longer want papers in your home, some papers have personal information on them. So I would recommend that you invest in a good paper shredder or a roller stamp to hide that private data of yours before you toss it. So step 2, once you decide to get, once you decide to decide what you're going to keep, you can start to put away your items in the space you are working on. So let's look at some of these ideas of how we can work on some spaces around our homes to get started. So here, we know that most people have junk drawers. If you want a junk drawer, I'm all for it. Just organize it. Know how many you have and what you have on hand. Do you really need 95 pens? Guaranteed 75% of them are dried out. And then after we organize this, we can think of this as a necessity drawer instead of a junk drawer. Once mail has entered your living space, you must put it where it needs to go. If it's a bill that you need to pay, it needs to go in the bill file. If it's paperwork that you need to reference at a later date, file it. It's that simple. Do not set it on your desk to deal with later. This will only lead to more work later on. If you have a filing cabinet or bins of files, organize it by color, because I like to color code. So all blue files may be your health files, and all green files will be credit cards. Maybe your red files will be household utilities. By creating this type of system, it will make finding items easier than just having a pile of papers lying around. If you prefer to do your banking online, that's fine. Sometimes it's just easy to download a statement, but you can create that filing system online for you to use. You can easily make files on your computer in the same way. Whichever you prefer, that works. If you subscribe to and have piles of magazines and catalogs, pull out your favorite pages that you may want to read and place the articles in a binder. If you love to cook and you have magazines with recipes in them, tear those out and place them in the binder and use dividers for categorizing, such as chicken, dessert, pasta, etc., or place it in file folders. This way you can find what you're looking for. Also, a quick tip with recipes, you can hang them on a hanger, and if it's on a tear sheet, it's easier to follow the directions than a book that like constantly closes on you when you're looking for that recipe or trying to make that recipe. So you can see I have a picture of it, of how you would hang it on your cabinet. If you collect music or DVDs, consider throwing away those bulky plastic packages. Try organizing your music and videos in a way by genre or artist. Some of my clients like their media alphabetized. Also, finding the right storage for your collection is key. Photographs are another item that can accumulate and overwhelm. Even though most photographs these days are digital and can be stored online, there are plenty of occasions when you'll want to make prints or give them away or display them. Create photo albums or for milestone events, or use photo bins to separate photos in storage bins in boxes. So let's head to the closet. If you haven't worn it or touched it within the last year, think about why you're holding on to it. Excuse me. Maybe you forgot you have it because your closet's so stuffed that you can barely move your clothes around. Start with clothes hangers. I personally hate the thick plastic hangers. My clothes always fall off of them. Consider using the thin felt hangers. Your clothes will not slide off and you will get more clothes in your space than using those thick plastic hangers. So you might be saying, well, Hallie, what can we do with those hangers then? You can always see if local organizations need them. Check with childcare centers or homeless shelters in your local area. Maybe schools might want them. With wire hangers, I always bring my wire hangers back to the dry cleaners. And then sometimes you can take your wire hangers to be recycled into scrap metal. And that would be, you should contact your local recycling center to see if they accept them. So we want to align this is the best way to align your clothes in your closet, is to face them all in the same direction. And after you wear them and put them back, turn the heads of the hangers around so you know that you've worn them. And if you have not worn them within the season, you can always consider donating them or asking yourself, do I really want this? So here we go. I love to do this in my closet. I wish my closet was this big, but find it extremely helpful. If you group together your clothes by color, it makes it really easy to find that blue blouse that you're looking for. So think about old bridesmaid dresses you might have in your closet. Consider donating it to a local organization for teens unable to afford a prom dress. Or perhaps you have an old suit in your closet. Donate it to someone who needs a suit for an interview. You can always look up these charities that accept these items and help people in your community that don't have access to this. Moving into kitchen space. If you live in New York City, you know how small most kitchens are. So we want to maximize the space that we have to work with. Try using over-the-door storage pieces, or use pantry risers in the cabinets for maximum storage. So you can see over here in the storage that in the pictures that I provided for you of what they would look like. Consider using Lazy Susans to maximize your space. I like to cook, so I separate my spices by savory, like what I used to use when cooking. I put like all my basil and my thyme together and all my spices that I like to cook with. And then on another shelf, I'll use all my baking condiments, such as cinnamon, ginger, chocolate chips, etc. And I'll put them on a different shelf. So I keep all like items together. If you like to cook and have multiple utensils, consider using, creating canisters that would incorporate all your metal utensils, all your wooden, maybe all your spatulas. And you can also use canisters that are see-through to eliminate the bulk of boxes, because a lot of times those take up spaces, such as like cereal, tea and coffee, maybe pasta boxes or cookies. So clear containers are always useful. Heading into the linen closet, do you fold or roll? Folding your top sheet around the fitted sheet and pillowcases will make it easier to find all pieces to make a bed, and it saves space, believe it or not. When you fold your towels and your linens, you will feel better when opening your linen closet, and it will help you find the items much easier. So this is really a good one. If you have extra prescriptions or medications, talk to your local pharmacist. They have programs to take back old and unused medications. Also, local police precincts have programs as well. And I just found out, I did some research, and I found out that on April 30th of this month, there is the National Prescription Take Back Day. So I would reach out to your local pharmacist to see if they will take back the unused or unwanted medications that you might have in your home. Also, Walgreens and CVS pre-COVID did have take back programs as well. So you can check with your local stores and see if they're still doing take backs. Do you have that dreaded box of tangled cords that no one can seem to figure out where they came from or where they go? If the cord is not plugged into an item, chances are you might not need it anymore. Unless it's an extension cord, consider getting rid of it. If you need to keep them, because you think I might have that item somewhere, but I don't know what this goes to, Keep them neat and rolled up. Use ponytail holders or rubber bands or clips to wind them. Also, you can use old toilet paper holders and label the tubes to remind yourself, maybe if you know what the cord belongs to, it's a good way to store them. If you have a young child, or maybe they're all grown up and you've been holding on to their artwork for years, get rid of it. Just kidding. No. Okay. If you want to hold on to it, seriously, don't let it pile up and keep accumulating dust all over it and turn into clutter. Instead, frame your favorite pieces to display as decor. Make a puzzle or take a photo of it and make an album. You can use many sites like Shutterfly, Mixbook, and Apple to create these special keepsakes for your loved ones. It's a really great way to utilize digital photos, etc. So this is a really nice way to showcase what your child maybe did as a youngster, or like hold on to it for when they get older and reflect back on it. So lastly, one item that most of us have on us at all times, that we have that overstuffed wallet. Those often become their own form of junk drawer. So receipts, crumpled money, old coupons, and credit cards get lodged into our wallets, only to find us fumbling at the checkout counter. So keep your cash in order from largest to smallest bills, and make sure all the bills are laid flat. And then try to get in the habit of taking out the receipts on a daily basis when you get home. And then you can match them to your credit card statements if you're anal like me, which I always do. So this is pretty much everything that we do, quick tips and everything. And after you're ready to create a system, we can train ourselves to put things back where they belong. And sure, different areas of the house may call for different types of bins and dividers or shelving. But as far as actual organizing goes, about every project I do, we come up with a plan that works for you. When you feel like everything is unorganized, I know it can be totally overwhelming to try to bring it all back together and put back to order. But if you attack one small area at a time and follow a few simple rules, you'll be so surprised on how quickly and what kind of progress you will maintain, and more quickly than you think. You'll just get everything together really fast. So if you need help getting started, or want to hear more ideas on how to organize and maximize your space, we can definitely get together and talk. And I have a special for all the Mount Sinai women in Rachel's group, and it's listed here. Just mention the word to me, Mount Sinai. And if you're ready, we can have some Q&A right now if you like. And hope I didn't go too fast. I am a fast talker. So if anybody has any questions, I'd love to help answer some questions right now.
Hallie, this was so helpful. I'm going to let's see, can you unshare your screen if you don't mind, so we can see?
Sure. Yeah, hold on, let me figure out how to do that really quickly. Stop sharing. Okay, here we go.
This was great. This was really, really helpful. Such practical suggestions. One thing I'm wondering if you can talk about is, a lot of people are working from home, or kind of setting up stations where at home where they're either doing their household work or doing their actual job work. Can you talk about the best way to set up kind of a home office area, and
Sure.
how to maximize space, especially if you're in an apartment that might be smaller, and sort of maybe some of the essential tools people might need to have to stay organized?
Yeah, so depending on what type of job you do, I actually work from home myself a lot of times, and I know that I try to corner off a part of my apartment that is, has my essential work items right near me. Keep a can, I don't know if you guys can see this, but something for water near you, so you're not always getting up and looking at other things around your house that might distract you. So you want to make a space that is like non-distractive. Take that TV, make sure it's put like, you know, turned off, and it will just really maximize your space. Create it like that how you would if you were going into the office. That would be my best suggestion, is like try to clear all distractions away from you so you can be the most productive that you can be.
That makes a lot of sense. And in terms of like essential office, I'm going to say tools, but you know, again, what I find is the days that I'm working from home, I end up with this big pile in front of me. I have, you know, things I've printed out, and then I have my notebook, and I have Post-it notes and all that. What's your suggestion even to stay organized with that type of thing? How do you stay on top of your to-do list? I mean, it seems easier when you're actually in an office.
Yeah, you know, I would definitely recommend, if you're going back and forth from your home to an office space, maybe only carry with you one notebook or a folder, just so you're not always like transporting your stuff back and forth, and you always put the most important paperwork in that folder. You don't want to be carrying around a 25-pound bag back and forth to your office. And just take these, really go through it and see, do I really need this, or does this need to be digitized? Maybe you can scan it into your computer for you know, easy access of going back and forth to things. So just really think, do I need to take these notes or paperwork back and forth with me, or can I create a note folder on my computer? Because all computers do have Word, most likely. You can create a folder of all your, you know, all your notes and stuff, and put them into the Word document. And I know that we also have most computers have Post-it notes on it themselves. So you can start utilizing those as well. That would be my biggest suggestion, is just really like look at, do I really need to bring this back and forth? What's the most important for me of what I'm going to accomplish in my office today?
So does anyone have a specific project that you are inspired to tackle based on today that you might want some feedback about?
I can just say something that I did. I organized my my toiletry closet, and I got a lot of baskets from either the dollar store or from Target. And I took index cards, or my daughter helped me do this actually. She's very anal. And she wrote, you know, each category is on there, whether it's shampoos, teeth, suntan lotion,
Yes,
women's hygiene, shampoos. So everything is in its own baskets. I don't have to go deep into a closet to start pulling things out. So.
Yeah, that's a great tip as well. I do the same thing. I label everything because I wear glasses, as you can see, and I'm always like, is that conditioner or shampoo or body wash? Like, I can't see anything. So I try to keep it like organized. Even in my shower, I'm like, okay, I know all my shampoos are in this area, my conditioner in this area. So I try to really like organize that like in my showers, because I can't wear my glasses in the shower. So yes, that's a great way to do it in your linen closet and in your shower space, is just organizing it. And going to the dollar store is the best. I love the dollar store because you can get really inexpensive plastic bins that do not cost a fortune.
Yeah.
That's great. And Hildred, I see that you have your hand raised. If you want to just unmute yourself.
Yeah, it's like interesting that she mentioned the fact that once you begin working on a project, how you have to avoid distractions, because sometimes you could find that in the midst of doing like separating stuff, that you become distraction, and at the end of the day you lose interest in what you're doing. So
right. So if you're working on a specific area, I would definitely recommend, like, say you're working on a shelf in your room, take off everything on that shelf, make it clean, like a completely empty space. Maybe put some music on in the background or an audio book that you want to pay attention to, and focus in on those like words that are being said, and look at each item and say, does this really mean something to me? It's kind of like the Marie Kondo thing, if it doesn't bring you joy, but like, I more think of it like, do I need this item? And if you do want it, make a pile of everything you want to keep, and everything you want to recycle. And once you look at the piles that you've made or everything you want to trash, you'll be like, oh, I have so much more space on this one shelf. And then you'll find that you can put it back so much quicker, and you won't be distracted from it because you'll do little bits at a time. You don't need to take the whole linen closet apart at once, or just do one shelf at a time. It's just that simple. Do little pieces to get to that big project. And then once that big project is done, you'll be like, wow, this may have taken me like a day or 3 weeks to do, but you'll feel so much more relieved when you look at it that way.
So should you fold your underwear or should you roll your underwear? What's the best way to keep that drawer the neatest? That's my problem.
Yeah, that's a matter of preference and how much space you have in your apartment. If you like to fold things, that's fine. You will definitely get more pieces in. Or sometimes I just like pile it on top of one another. It just really depends on each person's, preference, yeah, on what to do. So I've done both for different clients.
And what about when you're packing a suitcase? Is it better to fold or is it better to roll?
Depending on how long you go for folding, I know that people say that rolling is better because it doesn't like wrinkle and stuff, but I still am old school. I like to fold everything, and I like to say, okay, this is an outfit. This is outfit 1, and I kind of like lay it all out, and then I put outfit 2 on top of it. So I know I can just like grab that one outfit and use it that next day. And then I put the stuff that I don't want, if I'm not unpacking in a hotel room, right underneath it, because I know I already wore it. So I think once again, that's a matter of preference and how long you're going away for, how big your suitcase is. It's really subjective to each individual person on like kind of where they're going or how long they're going for.
Mimi has her hand raised. You can just unmute. We'd love to hear from you. Well then, Mimi, I don't know if you're talking, but if so, you just need to unmute yourself.
All right. Okay. Sorry. I thought I unmuted. Anyway, I've moved 3 times in 10 years. So I have boxes that were packed at the first stop that haven't been unpacked at the 3rd stop. And they're in the garage, and I look at them and I look at them and I look at them. And obviously there can't be stuff in there that I really need, or I have it out. So how do you get yourself to go through those boxes? Because a lot of it's also stuff from my mother's apartment. I mean, there's just stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that can be very daunting. I've definitely done a lot of that with a lot of my clients. I think that, if you can do it on your own, you just have to like put the date on the calendar to say, I'm going to go through 2 boxes today. You don't have to do it all at once, but you might find a special treasure in there that you forgot was in there because it was so long ago. And then start creating those piles of whether you want to donate the items or if you really do want to hold on to them or pass them on to, if you have children or something, maybe they want them.
They don't want any of it.
They don't want any of
it. I have boxes of their stuff they don't want either. So.
Yeah. So definitely I would, because you might find something in there that you do really want. So I would definitely start those piles of like donate or trash. If you don't want to keep any of it, or you might find that special treasure, that will be your smallest little pile, but definitely start the piles of donate, recycle, trash.
And the photographs?
And set on the calendar, just say, I'm going to go through 2 boxes. Give yourself like a goal, 2 boxes on Sunday, maybe 3 boxes in 2 more weeks. So you're not like overwhelmed or it's not too much for you, but give yourself like a little goal and put it on your calendar and hold yourself accountable for it.
Yeah, and same for the tubs of photographs too, right? I can't tell you how many tubs I have of those.
Yeah. Definitely you can invest in like photo boxes or those little photo bins. I've done a lot of those with my clients. And we've just like gone through the pictures and separated them and like, put them in areas in case you want to go back and reflect on certain things. I know that for videos, there are certain companies that do digitize them and they can put them on a DVD. So that's also an option. It could be a little bit pricey, but you would have to look into it. I think Costco does do something like that as well, but you would have to look into it further to find out if they still do those types of things.
I
Thank you.
keep on getting like pop-up ads. I don't know if anyone's used them, or apps on your phone where you can like snap old photos and it sort of crops them for you and optimizes the image and then saves it into special folders. And I have not tried it myself, but I'm very intrigued, I have to say, because the thing that's nice about that also is, you know, in terms of our family photos, you know, we have one bin in my sister-in-law's house, one bin in my parents' house, one, you know, they're kind of all spread out. And the thing that's nice about them being digitized is at least people can share them as opposed to them being stuck. And then if there's a flood or, you know, a pipe burst or something like that, they all get ruined. So I've been looking into that. If anyone does try any of those digitizing services, you know, share the information because I would be interested to hear.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I use that brand that I mentioned earlier. It's called Mixbook, M-I-X book, and I literally make all my albums from Mixbook. It's a great site. They have so many different like options that you can use. All you have to do is literally drag your pictures into it and arrange it. It will do it automatically, or you can do it yourself on how you want it set up, and it's wonderful. And it's not expensive at all to create these books.
And I know actually on Shutterfly, because I use Shutterfly, that they always have things where you have free books that you can do.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to pay for the shipping for them. I think they just want you to get onto the site. Danae, you have your hand raised.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Hallie. This has
Hi.
been really helpful. Here's my question. I am what you call, I have in my library called a collector's item, meaning the younger generation don't know much about this. Maybe some of us more mature people do. Things called LPs and 33s and 45s and cassettes. And they're my grandmother's, my mother's, my father's, and I have them all. You know, I'm in a duplex house, but my duplex house has limited space, very limited. I was trying to come up with the best way to organize it, maybe shelf it or library it some kind of way, you know, the way libraries would have. I wish I was Lincoln Center, but I'm not, because Lincoln Center has a wonderful, you know, music library. You know, the way they stack according to genre. I have gospel, I have jazz, I have classical, I have R&B, and I don't know where to start.
Right.
I even have cassettes there, and I'm like, I look at it and I get so overwhelmed. I'm like, how can I? And I'm very, very sensitive because they're collector's items.
Sure.
So where can I start to even categorizing is no problem, but utilizing the right space to organize.
Yeah. So I would maybe, like, depending on how you would want to use it, maybe I don't know, do you have them on a bookshelf right now? How do you have them stored in your house right now?
Now they're all in either a box or a bin.
A box or a bin. Do you want,
if I need a certain song, I got to go searching for it through the box or the bin.
Yeah. So do you want them on display in your home?
Sure.
So maybe that we can figure out, or you can, you know, research some type of like, they have these box bins that are big enough for us, like, you know, an album, and you can organize, like you said, you have them like as R&B, classics, jazz, whatever it may be, and you can get these bins and put them on display in your home, so that you know, like, where it is. You can alphabetize it by artists, or, like, you know, you have it by genre already.
Right.
So they do, you know, I think it's just the matter of being resourceful, of going on maybe Amazon or the dollar store and looking for, they do have bins or like nicely sized boxes that you might be able to put on a bookshelf if you have the space for it and you want it on display. It just depends on your space in order to, like, move forward. something that would work best for you is really just like getting that, maybe putting it on a bookshelf or something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
I
'cause I
actually
know,
have a
especially when you're
friend.
working with limited space.
Yeah.
You know?
I do have a friend whose son has been collecting vintage LPs, and
Mhm.
he actually has the album covers, some of them framed, and they're actually on his
Yeah.
wall, and they look very cool, you know, and
Ah,
I don't, you know, again, obviously, it sounds like you have too many to do that with all of them, but I know that you know, he's using them kind of as art, because some of the album covers are really amazing looking.
mhm.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Rachel.
Very good idea. Thank you.
Anyway, Margaret, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you. First of all, this talk is very helpful. So I want to thank you all, especially Hallie, for being here. And two things I want to say before I get to my question. The Costco photo kiosks are all closed permanently now. Costco is not bringing them back. I just read that online the other day.
Okay, thank you.
Also, another very good source for packages, not packages, boxes and things to store things in. If you go online and you type in craft storage for people that do jewelry or crafts, you can find a huge range of sizes and things, more than you would ever find in the dollar store or Michael's or anything like that. And they're usually quite inexpensive, but you have a very large variety. So I just wanted to say that. A third thing I just want to say before I get to my thing is that about 20 years ago, I bought a handheld photo scanner. It was like $100 at the time. I know they still make them. A friend of mine recently bought one, maybe 150, of course, and she's scanning all of her family's pictures. And it digitizes everything. And when I did it 20 years ago, it wasn't just my photos, but it was all my cousins and other people in the family. And then I was able to use the scanner in connection with my computer and make my own DVDs of them. So you don't have to go to all these expensive places and have somebody do it for you. You just do it on your table. Very simple. Okay, so that's my 2 cents about that. But my question is, I'm extremely organized and never have had a problem organizing. A lot of the tips you showed earlier, I already do. I've been doing for decades. But since the pandemic and I've been ill and home a lot and working from home, I've been trying to declutter stuff and make more space, just not to have, I have too much stuff. But when I start going through things, sometimes I find that I have this nostalgic feeling about an object, which stops me from getting rid of it, even though I don't need it. I don't even like it, but somebody who's now dead gave it to me in the past, or I remember wearing it, or if it's clothing, you know, some event in the past that I have, you know, feelings about, and I get stuck when I have these nostalgic issues. Recently, I did a lot of organizing in my kitchen, and I had no nostalgic feelings to what I was cleaning up, and I could do it great, and it was no problem. But I really get stuck every time when I start feeling some emotional feeling for the items, but I know I have to get rid of a lot of it. I don't want it. I don't need it. I want to have more space, as you say. So I know this is probably an unanswerable question, but any suggestions what to do with that?
Yeah, so look, I understand completely. I've worked with many people that just have a really hard time parting with things. And we have to kind of ask ourselves, like, what, like, you know, if you do have that special bond to that item and you're just not ready at that moment to depart with it, make a pile, put it in the back of your closet or something and say, I'm going to revisit this in a year from today. And if I haven't looked at it within that year or something like that, you might want to say, wait, really, why am I holding on to it? The memories are great and everything, but I have the memory of it. Do I really want that item? You have to kind of, you know, I'm not going to push you to like dispose of the item, but you just have to kind of like put it to the side and think, do I want the memory, or do I really want the item?
No, I've tried that. It doesn't
It doesn't work for you.
It doesn't. I went through, I have many bookcases of books that I've collected over my life. And I
Wonderful.
decided I'm going to go through them. I took them hundreds and hundreds, probably over 1,000. I don't know. I took them all out of all my bookcases. And I was just going to save a few, and then I'd have lots of room on the bookcases for other things, and it wouldn't be so cluttered. And as I started doing this, making a pile what I was going to donate to the library, they were going to have a big, book sale. I couldn't do it. Most of them I just didn't want to part with, and I know it was emotional. And so now they're not in the bookcases, but they're piled up someplace, taking up space and being ridiculous, and I can't get myself to do it. So I know it's all emotional. The same thing with, tchotchkes and all kinds of stuff.
So maybe do it like in smaller, so that they're already put away. And do you really miss them on a daily basis if you're thinking about them?
No, I don't miss them at all. But when it comes to touching them and going through them and thinking,
like,
well,
out of sight. So maybe take a couple items here and there and say, you know what, I am going to get rid of this one. And then once you get rid of it, if you feel that maybe you're not so attached to, but you still have like a special memory about it, and then slowly get rid of things, on a slower, you don't have to do it all at once, but maybe.
I know, I've tried, I guess I have
there.
tried all of this. There's certain things that I get stuck with, which I want to get rid of because I don't want my closet full of boxes. I want, openness and space, over the years, I've just collected stuff. As you live your life, you have more stuff. I don't like being so cluttered. So
I think we just have to ask, why are we holding on to certain things? That's what we have to think about. Right. We have to ask ourselves, why are we holding on to them? Will it make a difference in my lifestyle if I get rid of it?
No, it's really about the connection with the people or the event, or mostly the people. Or the person who gave it to
sorry
me.
to jump in, but I actually heard someone recently, if you look on Etsy, there are a lot of Etsy vendors who will repurpose items. Just as an example, somebody that I know had a quilt made out of her father's old t-shirts. Like I guess the father wore a lot of t-shirts with logos and things on them and made this beautiful quilt. I saw a picture of it, and it was someone on Etsy did it. You send them all in and then they made it, into that. Another thing that I've heard of too, and I'm sure Hallie, is I have a friend who is also very attached to books, and ended up, she said that for the next year, every time she gave someone a gift, she would put a book in it also, one of her books, with a note about why it was a special book to her. So it wasn't that she was just, getting rid of it. It was that she was sharing it with someone. And I think psychologically that felt better for her. And again, she handpicked the book and gave it, like she gave me a book. It was actually a children's book with like a note about why it was something that was special. And I thought that was really lovely as the recipient.
Wonderful.
I like that idea. That's a nice idea.
And if you have something that you can't donate or give to a special friend, once again, you can always take a picture of it.
Right.
So you always have that memory, and you can create a memory book for yourself.
Right. Right. I'm aware of that. I had a friend years ago after both his grandparents died, and he was responsible to take their house apart. He couldn't get rid of their clothes, and he was overwhelmed with it all in his apartment. So I told him, take photographs of every piece of clothing and then donate them. And that worked for him. So I know this, but it's just I just find
easier said than done.
Yeah. And I see that Barbara Camarda has her hand raised.
But anyway,
so
thank
Barbara,
you. You're welcome.
You just unmute yourself, Barbara.
Okay. So what about things like wedding gowns?
Yeah,
wedding gowns. But it's like it takes up a lot of space. And I had one son, and I didn't even ask my daughter-in-law to be if she wanted to wear one. We just went out and she got her own dress. And I think like it just takes up a lot of space. And yeah, I was just wondering. Really.
Yeah, so that would be kind of like a prom dress. Maybe someone really good with sewing, and they can, repurpose some of the lace or the taffeta or something that's on that dress. So I would look into like charities that do donations to like a prom dress donation site, because some of the younger people are very handy, and they just need the materials to make. It's kind of like that old movie Pretty in Pink, where she took two dresses and combined them. And you could just take a wedding dress and, like, just depending on how elaborate it is or something, give it to someone that's younger, and they can definitely use it for something else.
Because we just gave, as a matter of fact, this morning, we've been doing it like constantly. We got a big shredder and going through the garage and going through just like really trying to condense.
Yes.
Yeah, and I thought of the wedding gown, and I was wondering about, like, we gave to the American breast cancer organization, and I wondered maybe they would like something like that. I don't know, but I don't know if maybe they would sell it.
Well, I don't know if they have it in other areas, but I live in Manhattan, and there are these websites, the Buy Nothing websites, and they're divided by specific area. I imagine they have something similar in the suburbs. And so mine is very specific in like a 20-block radius of where I live. And there's different ones. My brother lives downtown, and he and his wife are pregnant. And so they were like looking to see if there might be people giving away like baby stuff. And so it's down in their specific area, but you can post things and you can say, I have a wedding dress that I'm looking to give away. And like, that someone who wants that wedding dress is going to get it, as opposed to just kind of, donating it and maybe having it be sold, like, and I think, as we were just saying with Margaret, psychologically, to me, that always feels better, that someone who needs it or wants it and may not be able to afford it, or maybe they can afford it, but just don't like the idea of recycling or reusing something, that's kind of more vintage. But you should check and see the Buy Nothing, and see.
What's it called? Buy Nothing?
Buy Nothing. It's on Facebook. At least the one that I have is on Facebook. And has anyone here used Buy Nothing before?
No, but I did want to make one suggestion before you give away your wedding gown. Even though your kids or their fiancés don't want the wedding gown, it's nice to cut off a piece of lace somewhere so that you can give it to your grandchildren, and they can put it into their bouquet. I did it for my son who eloped. His wife, they eloped, and they didn't do anything, but I sent her a piece of lace, and she put it, and she added it underneath her dress on that day. So just so they have something.
My husband doesn't want me to part with it at all. He's like, oh, we should keep it. And I just think, like, it's just something I'm leaving for them to have to dispose. I just think, like, a lot now of, like, I don't want to leave them with work, and so I think that about a lot of stuff. So that's what I'm trying to, like, do. And the wedding gown is just so big, it's just something that is not, like a little t-shirt, it's big. Yeah, especially years ago.
Rachel, you asked if anybody had experience with the free apps that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So one of my friends, her mother died about a year ago at 96, and she had to take apart her house and tons of stuff. So she went on that website, and every week she posts stuff, and people would come and see it. Her mother had a house where there was a porch, so she had, she could do it out. She didn't have to take them in the house, but people came and wanted the things she had posted, and she got rid of the majority of her mother's things that way. But she told me it felt so wonderful giving them to people who really valued it and wanted it, needed it. And afterwards, after many months of this, a number of those people wrote her letters telling her how grateful they were. So it became so personal and so wonderful for her. So I think it's a great idea.
That's beautiful.
Also, in terms of, like, the wedding dress, you wouldn't necessarily want to cut up a wedding dress, but one of the things I've done in the past, if I had clothing that I wasn't going to wear anymore for whatever reason, but it was some beautiful piece of goods, the fabric, I would cut it up and make it a cover for a throw pillow for my couch. Because that's I know how to use a sewing machine, but it's not a hard thing to do, even if you do it by hand. and you can just recover your pillows in all these beautiful pieces of fabric, and instead of just, dumping them.
Beautiful idea.
Did you have another question, Margaret? I know your hand was raised.
No, that was it. No,
That's
that was
great.
it.
Thank you so much. And Mimi, I think we have time for one more question. So Mimi, it is all you, or comment.
It's not really a question. It's just to the getting rid of stuff. Well, I have a friend who opens an Etsy to to sell off all her mother and her mother-in-law's things, and she's been doing really well on it. But the other thing I was going to say is that I collect tea sets, and I started to give them away as gifts, regifting them to younger people, and saying that this was mine from when I collected, and now I'm passing I'm passing on the collection to you. So it's another way of getting rid of something, but knowing where it's going and feeling like it has a continued life.
Did you say the account was Etsy that she used?
Yeah, she opened an Etsy store, and she's selling quite a bit of stuff. Actually, she sold some of my things too, and it's working. So, but it has to be vintage for Etsy. For Etsy, it has to be over 20 years old. If you're going to sell your tchotchkes or your china or any of that stuff.
The other site that my nieces are very big on is Poshmark.
Yeah, that's
They
more
are
clothing.
like, yeah, I know, but they are like to the point where they actually go out and shop and buy things and sell it on Poshmark. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little bit different than what we're talking about, but they are killing it.
Yeah.
They have like mannequins that they have, and they have boxes, tape. They really have like set up like even though they both are professionals and have jobs, they do this on the side.
Yeah.
And they're really like, like for extra money, and they're really like enjoying it.
Yeah,
And they even have people that they hot through Poshmark that like you pay them on the side, and then they actually help push your product
Mhm.
within. In other words,
Well, if you
get
go to
more.
if you go to ThreadUp, they'll send you a bag, and you can just
Right.
put your clothes in there, and they'll do it for you. You don't
Yeah.
have to do anything.
Yes.
Yeah, I've sent ThreadUp some stuff. I got they were having a promotion with Athleta. I sent a bunch of stuff. I ended up with a $215 Athleta gift card. Which
Nice.
was nice. And then of course I got motivated. I said, "Oh, send ThreadUp a whole bunch of." I've sold one pair of pants for $7.
Wow.
Can I just say something quickly, please?
Sure. Yes.
Another friend of mine lost her cousin a number of years ago and had to take his apartment apart. And he had, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 albums. And he had been a really major jazz collector, but his father had also been into the jazz world, and he had his father's collection of LPs too. And she was going to get rid of them. And I said, oh no, they're worth something. So my brother, who knows everything about albums, went over to the cousin's apartment with her, took one look at it, had some app on the iPhone. He knew where to look, and he was just pulling records out. And this was $500. This is $1,000. Not everyone, but unbelievable amount of money. So then she spent quite a few weeks. Actually, she transferred them to her apartment. She got them moved, and over time she weeded through them what's not worth anything and what's worth a fortune. So I don't remember the name of the app, but if you wanted, I could ask my brother what it was. There's a way to look these things up on the internet to find out albums, not just jazz, any old album, because some of them are worth a lot of money.
Danae, that would be good for you. If you wanted to.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes,
when
indeed.
Danae said about your family member that had all these albums plus I was thinking Danae, when you were talking about it, separating the album cover from the album really kills the value if it's a valuable album.
Yeah, don't do that with albums, just with DVDs.
That's right.
But you could find out in advance. My friend looked up every single album over a number of months and figured out which she had to keep that she could sell, or which she wanted to keep, and which she could give away because they're not worth anything. So I thought I'd bring that up. And if you want, I don't know if you're interested in my getting the actual name of the website.
Yeah,
I'd have
sure,
to ask my brother for that.
sure.
Okay,
Thank
I
you so
also
much,
have-
Margaret. If you give it to me, I can share it with.
right, that's what I would plan to do.
Thank
yeah.
you.
I
You're
also
welcome.
have little oriental rugs from family. You know, I'm not talking about the gigantic ones, but you know, like little ones you put in hallways and stuff that I
They could be very
inherited.
valuable. I
Yeah.
have a friend who's 98 years old and was perfectly able to live on her own, physically and mentally fine. And she had an old rug from her mother from the 1920s, an area rug, and she had it appraised and it was worth over $10,000. So you don't know, you have to get these things appraised.
Right, right.
Some of them are not worth anything and some of them are.
Yes, and also they have to, I think, be cleaned, you
Yeah,
know, because if
well, that's how
something
she
is
got it
not
appraised. She
clean,
had it cleaned, and the cleaning company, she bought it, she had picked up by a cleaning place that does nothing but rugs. And they told her they think it's valuable. That's when she got the appraisal.
yeah.
Ladies,
Because
we are
otherwise,
out of time. I was going to say, I feel like we are all so inspired. I don't know about you, but I'm going to go home and just rip open a closet or drawer and start tackling it later on when I get home from work. But what I think was really exciting about this session is I feel like Hallie is the professional and this is her job and she gets paid for it, but everyone is an expert in their own way and have such great ideas of everything, from the dollar store and websites and, and ideas. So this was really like almost like crowdsourcing, it kind of turned into. Again, Hallie, your expertise was so helpful and I think super motivating. And I learned as much, from all of you as I did, from the formal presentation. So this was wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today on this Sunday.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for sharing your expertise. If anyone has ideas, that you think of that we didn't mention, just shoot them to me and I can, also circulate them, or we could even put them on. I see Hallie's like, feel free to reach out to her. There's her phone number. Hallie's awesome. We have known each other for a very long time. So I'm glad she was willing to do this. And she's helped me in my house before and I've seen her do projects. So I knew that I was going to the right source here. And I'm very interested if anyone has before or after photos, if you decide to tackle a project, send them my way and I would love to see them. So everybody, thank you so much for spending this past hour or so together. It was hopeful and inspiring and it sort of gives you a sense of control. That's kind of what I feel. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can open that drawer and I can get through it. And I love the idea, like for Mimi, like schedule the time. And I feel like that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, okay, this Sunday afternoon for 1 hour, I'm going to try and do, a few areas. So, I wish everyone happy and healthy holidays if you celebrate any of the upcoming holidays. And as always, Moment to Woman is here for you for whatever you might need. Well, thank you so much for being part of our community this morning and have a great day, everyone.
You too.
thank you.
You too,
Thank
Rachel. Happy
you.
holidays, everyone.
Happy
Yeah.
holidays.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye.